Hello, everybody. My name is Carson Taylor,
I'm Ryan Adams.
and this is Midtown Malfunction. You can listen and watch this podcast on YouTube.
Oh yeah, dude. We're trying to get the video aspect of this down. We're chipping away at what's gonna be our, I guess our final version of the setup or what. I really want to clean that table off. I keep looking at
like,
it.
clean it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gross. This whole living room really hasn't been touched in like 6 months.
It gives the vibe of like an old couple died in here.
Yeah.
And we live here now, and we just didn't do anything to the furniture.
Me and Ryan both basically live in our separate bedrooms and have since we moved into this place. And so, yeah, basically, I used to live in this living room. I lived in this living room for about 2 years because I refused to clean my bedroom.
Actually, on this couch.
Yes, on this couch. I pretty much stayed here for 2 years and didn't move. There's a lot of alcohol and drugs involved in that. And then once I finally got my room together, sobered up, and went back in there, now no one ever comes in here besides this cat.
Yeah, we're still in the process of like making this room seem like lived in and like good, you know? So throughout the episodes of this podcast, as they go on, you might see small changes.
And
happening.
we've also been trying to get this living room to look like that for 4 years now.
Yeah, we're busy, dude. We got a lot going on.
This
Look,
is true.
We're trying to be superstars.
Yeah, some kind of start.
Yeah, something, dude. We're trying to be fulfilled.
Even if it's a very minute star, it would be, cool. I don't know.
Oh, just so you know, if the podcast just shuts off abruptly or somebody, it's because Mojo was chewing through one of the cables or something.
Yeah, something happened. But no, man, we're here. We're happy to have y'all out there in YouTube land, watching from your phones or your laptops or your televisions or your... Maybe you're watching from your watch. I don't even know what you can do anymore.
What would be the creepiest device for somebody to be watching this on right now?
Our window.
Yeah,
that would be the creepiest. We just look over; they're just right there,
in the
just
trees.
staring at us, and staring at us with that Jim Carrey face that says, "I was him."
Yeah. They have like posters like they're at WWE, like "Say hi to me, Carson." Shout me out.
All right,
dude, you got to get off the couch, man.
Bye.
What was that sound we made before?
He hates that sound. He hates the cry from Intervention. I don't know if y'all remember the episode of Intervention, and we can reenact it right now. Honestly, I could do the whole thing.
I just know that part.
Oh, yeah. I just know that the guy before is brilliant. The dude's son, he's like, and I just want you to know that I still love you.
Yeah, man. I feel like discovering that the cat hates that is like our secret weapon because he's starting to do it again. But when he was younger, like before we got his balls cut off, he had the ability to make the most annoying sound the world I've ever heard in my life.
100%.
He would do it. It's not even the sound itself, because the sound itself was bad. It was his timing with it. He would do this let's say if you had to be up at 8:00, he would be doing this at 6:30. Like right before your alarm was about to go off or some shit, where you were like, oh, I'm about to get this like good little half an hour of like sleep or whatever. Like maybe you open your eyes, but it's not ready. That's when he would do that shit. And it was driving everybody in the house insane.
It's like when you wake up 20 minutes before your alarm's supposed to go off. That's like an upsetting feeling.
Yeah. I mean, I personally, I like it. Like if it's like 5 minutes before it goes off, that makes me want to kill myself. But 30 minutes before my alarm goes off. I'm like, okay, I can chill out a little bit.
Oh no, I hate that. I'd rather like just go like 5 minutes before when it goes off, just because it's like that's when I was like, all right, this is what it was meant for. But like 30 minutes before, it's like I could have got 30 minutes more sleep.
Yeah, but I mean, to me, it's not so much the sleep, but the amount of time I don't have to be doing anything, or I don't. I'm just. Like, I'm not expected to be doing anything for this 30 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like still like about little 30 minutes of freedom before it's like, all right, I got to go brush my teeth.
Well, I'll say this. If I do wake up early, the best time to wake up early is right before the sun's about to rise early.
Yes.
There's something about waking up at like 4:45 in the morning and staying up, because if you do that and then you smoke weed right then and you let that high kick in with the sunrise, that just like, dude, you feel reborn. Like, that is like incredible, dude. That's, yeah.
I remember that period of time was always cool for me as a kid, because that's when PBS or like some other like obscure kind of more, not PBS isn't obscure, but like just like fringe channels you would find on like network TV back in the day were playing some weird shit at like 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like, I remember I used to get off work when I used to bake in the middle of the night. And I'd get off work at like 3 o'clock. And I remember I would get high, and then Nova or some shit would be on. Or like Secrets of the Dead. Or like something really cool.
The Boy with the Purple Crayon.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Secrets of the Dead episode? Or
No, there was a whole show called The Boy with the Purple Crayon.
What was
and
that?
It was literally a baby, like a toddler, a cartoon toddler, who was like in a onesie, and he had a purple crayon, and he would draw the whole episode, basically. Like, it's just him with a purple crayon, and he would draw moons and a star, and he'd be an astronaut. So, like, now you're in space this episode, but it's all with the purple crayon. Oh, it was incredible.
I've never heard of that ever.
I never heard of the one that you just said. What was that one?
Secrets of the Dead?
Yeah, I don't remember that at all.
It's like, it was like a documentary series where they would take like bones and like old legends and secrets or whatever, and like build the actual like story around it, and like tell you like this is like for like this is probably what really happened based on like the evidence that we found or whatever. And there was always like it was always like old war stuff and like old, you know, like it was interesting to me. I loved it. That and the Ken Burns documentary series about anything.
Ken Burns is the best.
Baseball, Vietnam, any president, like the dude could make anything interesting. Dude, he's gifted. Man.
Yeah, no, he can do a documentary about paper clips. And it's fucking gonna be amazing.
8-part paperclip exhibit. You'll like eat the whole shit up, dude.
One part for each bend in the paperclip.
And the revolution in the 1920s that like revolutionized paperclips forever. Like, you never knew about.
Yeah, when they stopped making them out of wood and switched to metal.
Dude. The first time somebody used a paperclip to pick a lock, and like the creator of paperclips is like going through like the courtroom, like no pictures. Like he's got to comment on the shit. Like, how do you feel responsible for the rise in crime? He's like, I was just trying to keep papers together. Yeah, man, all that is in the Ken Burns documentary.
Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. It's like he's making the same face that fucking what's his name? Who killed JFK? Not John Wilkes Booth. That's Lincoln.
No, that's before that. Fucking.
I want to say Ralph Waldo Emerson, but that's not. Like, that's Leaves of Grass.
Y'all know his name.
Ralph Waldo Emerson did shoot him, and he hid in the leaves of grass.
Holy shit! What was his name?
God damn it! Someone comment.
Can we Google on the?
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, we could do it.
JFK.
You're gonna end up on a list, but
dude, this is so.
JFK ass.
That is what it. Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, that guy.
I forgot what my point was. Oh yeah, the paperclip guy when they're taking photos of him. He's doing that.
Oh yeah.
And then they shoot him before he could get to the stand to talk about paperclips.
Yeah, man.
The assassination of JFK. Damn.
Yeah, so look out for the 8-part paperclip documentary by Ken Burns on PBS.
Also, let's not forget the Zapruder film, right?
Yeah.
As it is called. Is that that's because this guy's last name was Zapruder?
That's what I consider.
Have you
assumed?
This is why I think all this shit is weird. You ever met or heard of another Zapruder in your fucking life? There's one Zapruder that's ever existed.
Did y'all notice the shift in tone in this podcast when he picked up the mic and started going off about Zapruder?
Who is this man?
Dude, yeah, that is a very strange last name.
That's not a real name.
Never heard before or after.
Turns out that's going to be the type of camera it was filmed on or something.
Oh. No, I think it is that dude's name.
Where's Zapruder? I don't know how to say it. Here.
I dare you to try to type it in.
Okay, I got you. Hold on. Z-A-P. I hope it pops up.
Yep, Abraham Zapruder.
Abraham and Abraham.
What the fuck?
Do you see what's happening?
Look at that man.
Abraham Zapruder. What the... He looks like Mr. Slugsworth.
Yeah.
You never see Willy Wonka the Chocolate Factory?
Oh, yeah.
My name's Professor Slugsworth.
That guy. Yeah.
Get me the secret formula, Charlie.
I think I saw that movie once when I was a kid.
Oh, man. The original's terrifying. It really scared me.
I only saw it
that
once.
and Wizard of Oz really did kind of terrify me as a child. My mom would be like, it's a classic. It's what I loved when I was a kid. We should watch it. And I was like, yeah, y'all are watching some. That's why y'all are all fucking alcoholics.
No, dude, if you go and look up old pictures of like the Easter Bunny costumes and shit from back in the day, they were terrifying.
Dude, everything back then was. Here's the thing. Everything also, like I saw a meme about this, but it's like people underestimate. People do not talk about how brown the '80s were, but it's like, dude, when you look at Hollywood always makes everything look like what LA looked like at the time, or New York, where everything's really like the new fashion and colors. But 1986 in Who Gives a Fuck, Oklahoma, everything was brown, dude. The buildings are brown. The fucking the panels inside of the classrooms are brown. The tops of the desks were dark brown. Like, it had a depressing.
Now that I'm
just like
thinking,
brown
now
color
that you
to
mention it and I'm thinking about it, old pictures of my relatives from back in the day were overwhelmingly brown.
Dude, everything.
Yeah, like. No, I mean the color of the like. Yes, all my relatives are black. Like, I understand that, but like, no, like the color scheme of the world was brown.
But in all my family photos,
yeah.
It's like, wow, why is that? Oh, the car's white.
Yeah,
the dog's white.
Somehow,
the house is white.
Like, I didn't have the same brown '80s that you did.
Did they fill the pool with milk? What is that?
What is who was pointing this out? What is the fascination with porn and milk?
Because I think it's just supposed to replicate cum.
I guess.
I really think it's that at that gross of a level.
But like that, never mind. I don't want it to go in this direction.
Because I remember seeing, like, I think it was a Ludacris music video when I was like in the 1st or 2nd grade, and it was on BET Uncut at like 1 in the morning.
Yeah, dude.
And these like 2 girls were just like twerking and like shaking their asses, and Ludacris in slow motion was pouring gallons of milk on their asses. And I remember how I was like an obsession with cereal.
Yeah, like, milk just represents sex now.
Yeah, dude, let's get some Reese's Puffs.
Does it say anything about Zapruder's family, or sorry, we're still on this Zapruder thing?
Oh yeah, let's find out more about Zapruder. Early life. Zapruder was born into a Jewish family in the city of Kovel, the Russian Empire, now Ukraine, the son of Israel Zapruder. He received only 4 years of formal education in Ukraine. Yeah, but back then you were raised on like rational thinking and just knowing how to build shit with your hands and stuff. I feel like you didn't need.
Yeah, formal training in like secondary education, I don't think was as common as it may have seemed. Like, because the people you hear about, like the people you read about, is like, oh, he went to such and such college or whatever. But I like the average person that's not in the history books, which is like most people back then, I think probably weren't going to college.
God, no. It was still a rich person's game back then.
Yeah.
Like, that's never changed. You know what I mean? Rich people get the best life. Or at least first access to it.
And it was kind of like if you were, because you hear this all the time, like, or I did, like, stories I heard from my relatives growing up that, like, back in the day, if you were from a poor family and you expressed interest in going to college or doing something, you know, greater or whatever like that, you were like reprimanded. Like, no, you can't do that. Like, you can't be a doctor. You come from a poor family. Ugh.
He moved to Dallas, Texas in 1941, witness to the Kennedy assassination. At the time of the assassination, Zapruder was an admirer of President Kennedy and considered himself a Democrat. Zapruder had originally planned to film the motorcade carrying President Kennedy throughout downtown Dallas on November 22nd, but he decided not to because it had been raining that morning. When he arrived at work that morning without his camera, Zapruder's assistant insisted that he retrieve it from home before going to Dealey Plaza because the weather had cleared.
Who's this assistant?
You know, it's probably fucking... It was the guy that dressed up like a woman back then. It was a CIA agent.
Oh, somebody did this?
You don't know this? Yeah, like our top like CIA guy, Hoover.
J. Edgar Hoover?
J. Edgar Hoover. Yeah, he was a cross-dresser.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he's probably the assistant.
Yeah, he's the assistant.
J. Edgar Hoover dressed as a woman. Be like, you should really go get the camera.
Does it specify that the assistant was a woman? I mean, this is the 50s, so
it had to have been. I would just assume because it is
or
the
60s.
50s. Yeah.
Damn.
Passing. Wait, the president was shot? No, I'm kidding. But
what is this?
This is Twilight Zone. You remember that episode of the Twilight Zone where it is it's so they had one where a man like went back in time to, and it was somehow this guy like wakes up back in time and it's like in the 1800s, but he's from like the 1900s, and he's like, what the hell? And he asks somebody like, hey, what day is it? And they tell him the date, and he realizes it's the day that Lincoln gets shot. And he's like in DC, and he's in DC, and he like tries to run to stop it or whatever. And I think it's like one of those things where like if you stop it, the world's worse.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
That's one of my fears about going back in time. Like fiction has successfully put that fear in my head, because like if you go back in time and like blow a leaf like to the left a little bit, you might change the entire course of it. Like things, like major things may not happen now because that leaf wasn't there.
Yeah,
like
what if that leaf was supposed to land in someone's face who tripped and because of it and fell in the street and got hit by a car, and that person was supposed to get their life together because they felt remorse for hitting that person because they were drunk, and then that affects this person and that leads all the way back to something.
No, and people don't even understand the effect of like something was supposed to happen to that person, and this uninvolved person over here sees it and gets inspired to do the thing we're all talking about. Yeah. But it's like no one ever even knows this thing over here happened. But if it didn't happen, all of this wouldn't have happened. So
what we're saying is it really is the assistant's fault. If the assistant would have convinced Zapruder to go get that camera, there probably would have been nothing to film in the first place. And what if that person is from back in time?
You know the story of how as you get older, you get a war that you attach to.
Yeah.
World War One.
That's yours?
Yes, World War.
Really?
Because the way it started is so fucked, dude. So we all know the Archduke Ferdinand of not Bosnia, one of the countries in there, one of those Baltic countries or whatever. He gets assassinated, right? And that leads to the snowball effect that ends up being World War One, right? But just that day, the series of events that happened that day that led to him dying are so fucked. Like if anyone wants to look into it, but like long story short, there was they're called the Black Hand. They were they were trying to assassinate him because like they were basically playing in their face. Like they were. Now what fucking country was it?
Was that the Czech Republic?
Something like that. Like they on their like special like Day of Independence, their main op or whatever that like had control of them or whatever now was gonna like parade through the city, and that was the Archduke Ferdinand, who, to his credit, probably wasn't privy to all. Like he didn't know all the history and shit. Probably, I don't know. But he might have, but like I don't think he was over there like fuck y'all. But they saw it that way.
He might have been.
So they were trying to like assassinate him. One dude fucking what? I gotta re-look at the story or whatever. Each person that tried to take him out failed, and they were like, fuck it, we can't do it. And they didn't, and they gave up and went like their separate ways or whatever. The fucking motorcade took a wrong turn and went down like the wrong street or whatever, because like they tried to throw a bomb, and like the bomb, like the grenade or whatever, like exploded and it didn't kill them or whatever. So they were like, fuck it, wrap this shit up. So they were like, oh, we failed. So on their way to like because people did get hurt in the initial blast or whatever, he's gonna go to the hospital to like see them or like be there to like show solidarity and shit. Because like, that's what I'm saying. Like he seemed like a cool dude.
I don't know, like man. All politics seems.
They take a wrong turn on the route to like to the hospital, and one of the people that was supposed to assassinate him is sitting in a sandwich shop. Like, because he failed, and he's like, oh, fuck it, I'll just get a sandwich or whatever, I suck. And he sees him out the window, and he's like, aha! And, yeah, like, what? How does that happen? And that leads to, like, the Great War of the world at the time. That makes
me think that the driver is paid off somehow. Like, he's in on it, he knows where to take
something,
him.
Dude.
You know what I mean? Like, it went in doubt, driving by the sandwich shop.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Big ass window, like be there. Apparently, one of the people that like tried to flee had like a suicide pill, like a cyanide pill, but the pill was like out of date, like expired. So when he tried to like do it, it just made him sick and he threw up, and like he was arrested, like vomiting all over himself.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah,
I think my favorite one is Vietnam, and it's because. It's just a fucked situation. We shouldn't be over there. It went on way longer than people realize. People act like Vietnam's just the late 60s, and like, dude, that shit really started in like, it was like the late 50s is when it started.
Yeah.
And then and it still went on through the early 70s. And it's like everybody over there did not want to be there, but they're in a situation where they're like, oh, well, we're not going to die, so we do have to fight, even though we don't know what the fuck we're fighting for. And then it
won't let us just go home.
All culture, civil rights, music, art, everything back home is changing and rapidly fast, dude. And you're over here with a gun in your hand in the middle of the jungle. Like, what the fuck? I should have gone to college.
For real. You should not be here right now, young man. And they would, like, what was it this war that the Viet Cong would drop pamphlets on African-American soldiers? That was like, hey, man, so when y'all go back home, they're going to be, like, racist to y'all and shit. Just saying. Like just say, like, they would do crazy shit like that.
Yeah, and then torture the fuck out of you.
Yeah.
The torture and you ever seen The Deer Hunter with Robert De Niro and Christopher Walken?
Yeah.
The torture scenes of that are so fucking brutal, where they just have you in like a bamboo cage in the water where only your head's above the water, and there's like snakes and rats and stuff just eating at you, and you're just like sitting there screaming with your head above the water. Like, that's just awful, dude. It's
Ew.
the worst. Yeah, Vietnam 54 to 75.
Does this start at the Bay of Pigs or something?
It's
like what?
Well, no. So at first it started with these little it was very political shit in the beginning, and it started off with us kind of going over there in small groups, and we had kind of stationed ourselves over there. And by the 60s is when it really the mid to late 60s is when we really started drafting and you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. It took off. But people don't realize that 10 years before it became media popular, we were over there fucking around doing shit, and we always go over there and fuck around and cause problems. We're no, we're doing this for freedom, but it's we're stealing something, we're murdering somebody.
Every single this shit right here is what's gonna get the podcast fucking pulled. Every single one of our military conflicts or any sort of thing like that is you can always look underneath the smoke screen of oh, we need to go over there to justice or do freedom, whatever. It's there's a thing over there we want.
Yeah.
There's some kind of resource or something that they have.
Yeah.
That it's we need to create one of those Looney Tunes dust fights so we can just grab it real quick.
War is basically vote for who controls you the least. You know what I mean? Where it's what do you want? You want to be controlled by them? You want to be controlled by us? I'm man, it was kind of cool the way things were. It was just I hope we win. But it'd be nice if no one else died. That'd be cool.
You think it would be cool if some people didn't die, but I feel well, this isn't funny. This is supposed to be a comedy podcast, right? But no, I think part of the reason wars happen is a mutual agree. Hey man, some people need to die. We need to get some people out of here.
Oh, for sure.
Let's have a world war.
It's and then also we're gonna count so much money.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody that we're counting dollars, dude. People get rich off of war, crazy rich.
It's like Metal Gear Solid.
Man, it is what it is, dude.
It's like The Matrix. There it is.
But that's
we haven't mentioned The Matrix yet.
No, we haven't mentioned The Matrix yet, but god damn it, I do love some Matrix. Yeah, but that's why Vietnam's my favorite, just because I don't know. It's just the fact that you have a guy over there who's fuck it, and he's getting his first ever tattoo, and he's smoking weed for the first time. You know what I mean? And he's hooking up with some, Viet Cong hooker.
They're not Viet Cong. They're just Vietnamese.
Well, you know what I mean.
They're just there.
You know what I'm saying.
They're making a lot of money because of war.
But I'm like, your whole world is spinning, and so you're just in this fucking. And Jimi Hendrix just released his first album, and you're hearing that for the first time, and I mean,
what a time!
It's crazy. You just found out 3 months after it happened that Otis Redding died. The news just got to you that Otis Redding is dead.
It came in a letter from your mom. It was oh, by the way, Otis Redding died.
Yeah, there's no more Otis.
Yeah.
That's just all it says. Dear Charles, Otis is gone.
Dear Charles, stop. Otis Redding has gone. Stop.
Come home.
Please.
There's
stop.
No more Otis. We need you.
Yeah, that reminds me of that Simpsons joke where I think it's Treehouse of Terror, where Homer's going crazy and Marge tries to call Chief Wiggum at the police station, and she's on like a CB radio or some shit because I guess he fucked up the phones, and she's come in, Chief Wiggum. Homer's going crazy. Over. And he's like, oh, thank God that's over. That's
great. Dude, I love The Simpsons so much. There's like my favorite episode is it's a long Spanish name. Like I cannot tell you how long it's El something wild, but it's the chili pepper episode where Homer eats the chili peppers, goes on a psychedelic journey to figure out if Marge is his soulmate or not. And Johnny Cash is the voice of the coyote, and he's trying to help him like find out who he is. And he's like, you must find your soulmate, Homer. And then Homer's like, but what do I do? Do I give away all my worldly possessions? Do I join a religion? He goes, what? God, no. If anything, you should get more worldly possessions. You don't even own a computer.
Dude, I was watching a video, and they made a really interesting point. It was a Super Eye Patch Wolf on for those that give a shit. But he was talking about The Simpsons and how it's weird they're framing now, or like how they look now to the common person, because back in the day the Simpsons family was like Malcolm in the Middle, like they're like oh my god, was like this is the Bushes are against family them. Like but they're in they're Homer has one job, good job, insurance. He's raising 3 fucking kids with one 33. Job in a fucking good ass house in a good neighborhood.
You know his character is 33.
He's 33.
Yeah, Homer
years
Simpson's
old.
33.
I'm 4 years older than Homer Simpson, by the way.
I'm pretty sure it's 33.
Holy shit. Yeah, but dude. Anyway, and it's like, look at what that looks like to us now.
Yeah.
You know, like you're living the life, bro. Like
Homer's crushing it.
Yeah. Like, y'all are like upper class, but I don't know. Like it would be hard to have their show have the same mood, like the same like radical kind of mood that it did back then. Well, looking the way they look to us now.
Back in the day, parents like thought Bart Simpson was a bad influence. Like my grandmother, my grandmother on my like stepmom at the time. She told my dad she didn't want me watching The Simpsons because she thought Bart was a bad influence, and like Barbara Bush was against The Simpsons and like actually spoke and said like she thought The Simpsons was bad for American families and that it was bad for people's children, and like she talked about how Bart Simpson was a bad influence. So The Simpsons wrote her a letter as Marge Simpson, saying that she thought it was disrespectful to talk about her children that way and all this stuff and everything.
Nice,
and
dude.
Barbara Bush apologized. I think she thought it was kind of cool.
Nice,
that's kind of dope. So yeah, dude, that is one of the smartest things. Yeah. Like to write a letter as Marge Simpson is awesome.
One of the best examples of this I ever seen. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen this. I'm sure most of y'all have seen this. But when PBS was trying to like rally or lobby for funding from the federal government, I think this is like the first time that like it became like, cause this is them like trying to get the federal like shit behind them to do this. And what because this like the budget's always been tight or whatever, and so like they're in front of these people that's like, you better make a good ass
PBS, please be spending.
Yeah, no, for real. Like they're like, you better make a good ass case to like, you're talking about like puppets and shit, whatever. So what they did is they got fucking Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, to sit in front of this like hearing or whatever and convince the people that we need PBS and like public television and shit like that. And the speech he gave was like so heartwarming, and so like, I don't care put this man in front of my kids, please. Like I'll pay for that. Like just have him teach my kids how to tie their shoes or whatever, because this dude's awesome. And he was, and this is Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and shit.
Mr. Rogers is the shit, dude.
He was like, we always have cartoons that show so much violence and the characters bopping each other on the head and explosions, and why don't we just have a show where We explain to a kid how to deal with your emotions and what to do with your anger. And the dude's on the stand like, yeah, we should have that show.
I forgot about being a good person. I really do. Yeah. People think, like, if you just take a pause for a second and just be like, aren't you tired of being angry? I feel like some people will be like, yeah, my chest hurts. Like, I am upset all the time.
No, dude. Everybody at home, I'm going to do something crazy, right? Somebody did this with me, and I was like, holy shit, you're right. Everybody, unclench your jaw. Did you notice how clenched your jaw was?
Oh, my God.
Did you notice?
Dude.
You've just been...
How am I not grinding every tooth out of my head?
Dude, it's like, relax your shoulders.
Oh, no,
did you notice that you've been like...
Bro, that's why I do yoga, because like the best part, like the stretches and everything are nice, and it's less about like stretching and it's more about like holding like a peaceful breath. You are stretching, but there's like a lot that goes into it, but it's at the very end. I can't remember what the word is right now, but it's where you just basically meditate and you lie down on the ground and it's like, put your arms by your side, put your legs, and then she slowly just like from your head, it tells you to relax each part of your body. And I can't tell you how many times I've fallen asleep on my bedroom floor and woke up like an hour later, like, what happened? Dude, where am I? It's so peaceful.
It's weird. Like, oh my God, this is going to get all metaphysical and shit. But like, I do it sometimes just to, I don't know, I don't know what it does, but it helps me out. Like if I do this right here, like just touch my pointer fingers to my thumbs, and like you can close your eyes and like focus, like just focus your attention to like each fingertip and like feel like as you're doing that and just be like mindful of each like feel. It's really fucking like when you come out of it, you feel so like present. And so like, I don't know how to explain it. I heard someone explain the exercise one time and I did it and I was like, that is so fucking cool. Like how you can just sorry if the lighting got shitty, the natural lighting or whatever, but like, yeah.
That's like when I meditate, what I do is like all I try to do, because like, your mind will race and you'll get stuck on these thoughts and you try to like, as soon as I have them and like I'm conscious, like, nah, dude, you're thinking about shit. Like I will try to go away from it. And the thing that I try to center my intention back to is I see a ring and I just see like another ring, like a ball, just going around that ring counterclockwise, and I just try to focus my attention on just that. That's the only thought I have in my mind, is that, doing that in a circle around that ring. And every time when I get to that place, I could hold it for just like 10 minutes or whatever. When I get out of that 10 minutes, I'm like, dude, I feel like I lost 20 pounds. That was all just stress in my body. Like,
I need to have a thing like that, like a place that I go that it's just like, all right, we're going to let everything else wash away right now and just be and nothing else.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll figure out what it like. You'll be in a much better emotional point, like, to deal with whatever it is after you do this.
It's the best, dude. Meditating is like, I haven't done it in like a week or so now. I've been lazy, but like all I do is 10 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes. And like, if you do that every day for a week, you can tell the difference by that. When that week's up, you're like, dude, I can tell like things just aren't bothering me that usually I'd be like, oh, I'm just kind of like, whatever. That shit happens. I can get over that.
Yeah.
But like, also me and Ryan both don't drink alcohol anymore. We're both California sober, which we will talk about that, I'm sure, more through other episodes of the podcast.
It's visible in every episode. Like, there's weed in every episode.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. We smoke weed, but we do not drink alcohol. And since then, since I quit drinking about 18 months ago, I discovered things like, I mean, I always knew they existed, but I actually gave yoga and meditation a shot, and it does help. It does help, I will say. But yeah, I think that's good for an episode.
Yeah, dude, we got some mics to hit tonight.
Yeah, we're about to go to. Oh, that's your best. Oh, go ahead. No, we're about to go to Oyster City, and then
Ocean Springs.
Ocean Springs.
Juke Joint.
The Juke Joint. Krangus Gillespie is the host of that. Mikey Warneth is the host of Oyster City. It's about an hour drive between Mobile and Ocean Springs, but we enjoy it. You got to do what you got to do down here for stage time. All you young whippersnappers out in the Boston and New York and the Austin and LA's,
with your 9 mics a night.
With your 40 mics a week. Yeah. We're jealous. I'm not gonna lie, we're very jealous.
But we're going to get it, man, just like y'all are.
Yeah.
That's the dream, right? We're living the dream.
But we drive very far for very little stage time, very little money sometimes.
We're spread out,
Yeah, it is very, very spread out over here. But we're having a good time, and we appreciate you listening. We'll have more of this podcast coming to you. I don't know if this is episode 1. I don't know if this is episode 7. If it's posted as episode 1, then it's episode 1, and you made it. You're here. We made it, and it's going to be a long and joyful and loving relationship between us and you.
Whoa.
Not loving in like I can't do anything for you.
Yeah.
But I hope that we make you feel better or make you go, man, I haven't thought about that in years. Or, man, I never looked at it that way. And, like, if we can do that for you, then I feel like we're doing a good job.
And if your last name is Zapruder, hit us up.
Dude, I want to know that there's more Zapruders out there.
Yeah, like, if you're a Zapruder family or, like, descendant or something, let us know. We need to set up, like, an email account or like some we'll iron all this out later.
This might be Midtown Malfunction under the name Zapruder Productions.
Yeah, like we don't even know what's about to happen right now. But
yeah, if there's more Zapruders out there, don't stop. Don't film things.
Yeah.
Don't be TikToking.
Put the camera down. Haven't you filmed enough?
There was a Zapruder at the Trump assassination attempt, and he was like, "My God, it's happening again." He just like goes home. It's like, "I'm never filming again. Every president's gonna die."
It's like Final Destination. God damn.
That's hilarious.
Peace out, y'all.
All right, guys. Peace out. Midtown Malfunction. Get your life together.
Damn.